Okay, so today you're going to be ordering decimals and percents. So first thing we need to know is a decimal and integers are both classified as, change my mouse, as rational numbers. Okay, and we learned that on our the previous day. So what we're going to do is we're going to label the rational number diagram below, then place the following numbers in the appropriate location. And this is basically a warm-up from what we did yesterday. So the first number we have is 6. 6 is a rational. 6 is also an integer because it's not a fraction or a decimal. And 6 is a whole number because it's not negative. Okay, next number we have negative is negative 5.7. And that's just rational. It can't be an integer because it's a decimal. So the next number we have is negative 31, which is rational, but it's also an integer because it's not a fraction or a decimal. But it cannot be a whole number because it's negative. So the next number we have is 0, which is rational, which is an integer, and which is also a whole number. Okay, next number we have is 17.2, which is a rational, and can't be anything else because it's a decimal. And next we have 25, which is rational, integer, and a whole number because it's not a fraction or decimal or negative. Next number we have is 42.4, and it's rational because it's a decimal. And the next number we have is 100. Okay, each number belongs in a specific location on the number line. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today is placing these numbers on a number line. And in terms, we'll be ordering them. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the following decimals on the number line below. So we have negative 8.7. So negative 8.7 is on the negative side and will be right about here, really close to 9. So that'd be A. Ooh, let me make a better A. Okay, B is 5.6. And so 5.6 is in between 5 and 6. So be about right here. That'd be B. C is negative 1.1. So I'll be in between negative 2 and negative 1 and be really close to negative 1. And then D is 3.4. So I'll be between 3 and 4 and almost in the middle. And then E is 9.3, which is almost halfway between 9 and 10, but not. There we go. So now we're going to order the following numbers from least to greatest. And it says you can sketch a number line. I don't want you to have to do that because I know it's kind of hard to do that online. So we're just going to use this number line up here as a guidance and then just write them in order from least to greatest. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find any negatives I have. So the negative I have is negative 6, and that's the only negative. So since that's a negative, that's going to be my smallest number. So we have negative 6. So now I'm going to look at my next set of numbers. So I have a 4, 4.6, 16, 3.9. So 3.9 is the smallest, the next smallest, because that's close to 4, but it's not. So then that means 4 has to be next. And then we're between 4.6 and 16, and we know 4.6 is smaller than 16, and 16 is your greatest. All right, we're going to do that again. So we're going to order these numbers from least to greatest. So I'm going to find my negatives. So I have this negative, and now I have this negative. So negative 4.5 versus negative 7. Negative 7 is actually a smaller number because it's further away from 0. So if you looked up here, this is negative 7, and this is negative 4.5. So that means that negative 7 is the smallest. So negative 7 will go first, and then negative 4.5. And then we have 1.77, 17, and 1.07. So sometimes it might help if you think in the terms of money. That this is $1.77, this is $17, and this is $1.07. So $1.07 is smaller than $1.77. And that comes next. And then finally $17 is the biggest. And I'm sorry about the 5s. I don't know why they keep coming out weird. Okay. Percents can also be ordered, but they must be converted to decimals. And I actually already taught you this. This is the Dr. Pepper method. But again, this is a great practice to go back over. So 25% will be 0.25 or 0.25 or 25 hundredths, if you want to use the correct terminology. You can convert a percent to a decimal by moving the decimal 2 places to the left. And that's the reason why I use Dr. Pepper. So D is the decimal and P is the percent. So if you're at the percent, you have to go to the left, and Dr. Pepper has 2 letters, so you have to go 2 to the left. All right, we're going to practice converting these percents to decimals. So 50% will just be 0.50. 68% would be 0.68. 19% would be 0.19. 33.3 repeating will just be 0.33 repeating. 188% is 18.8. I did not move my decimal 2 times. I need to move it 2 times. So it would be 1.88. And 237 is 2.37. And then 9% will be 0.009. And then 100% will just be 1 or 1.00. And sometimes people will get confused. Like, let's say if I had the percentage 1.2%, we're going, well, that's already decimal because it has a decimal in it. No, it's still technically a percentage because of the percent sign. So yes, you still need to change this. So you're going to take the decimal and you're going to go 1, 2 to the left. So you get 0.012. Okay? I can understand how that can be kind of confusing. Let's move on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to order the following from least to greatest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the 56%, I'm going to change the percents to a decimal and then work with that. So 55% is 0.55, and then 100% is just 1 or 1.00. So now I can easily compare these numbers, and I'm going to write them from least to greatest. So my smallest number is actually 0.55. And so instead of writing 0.55 for my final answer, I'm actually going to write the 55%. I'm going to bring it back to where it started. And then my next number is 0.67, and you just write 0.67 because that's how they gave it to you. And then after that will be 100% because that's one whole, but you're going to write 100%. And then finally you have 1.24. Okay, so now I need to change this. I'm going to do number 13. We're going to change the 50% to 0.50, and that's a negative 50%, so that's going to be a negative 0.50, so don't drop your negative sign. So now I'm going to change this to least to greatest, or place them in from least to greatest. So I have 2 negatives. I have a negative 75 cents and a negative 50 cents. So the negative 75 cents is the least, is the smallest. Just imagine if you're in debt by 75 cents, that debt would be greater than the 50 cents. So this will be the smaller number. So you will write negative 0.75, and then comes negative 50%. So then those 2 are done. So now you have 1.5 and 2. So the 1.5 is smaller than $2. So you just take it one step at a time. Okay. The following numbers are placed on a number line. Which of the following best represents point A? Point A is right here. Since that's to the left of negative 1, that means it has to be negative for 1. So D is incorrect. Second thing is it's to the left of negative 1, so that means it's between negative 1 and negative 2. So that means it has to be greater than negative 1, or smaller than negative 1 if you're in this sense of being negative. So A is wrong. And then B is wrong because it's between negative 1 and negative 2. So the only one left is C. Okay, Julian tracks his progress on his reading quizzes over a period of 4 weeks. Which list shows his scores from greatest to least? Okay, so that kind of tricked us because we're normally used to least to greatest. So we're going to do greatest to least. But first, make sure that I didn't skip anything. Okay, good. Because we haven't done fractions yet, and we will on the next video or the next day. So I need to change the fractions to decimals. And remember, the way I change a fraction to a decimal is by dividing. So I'm going to divide 20 into 17. Well, 20 can't go into 17, so it goes in there 0 times. Add a decimal and a 0 in the house. 20 goes into 170, which will be 8 times. which is 160. We have 10 left over. Add a 0, bring it down. 20 goes to 100 5 times. So this is 0.85. And then I have 9/10. I'm going to do the same thing too. And that would be 0.9. And if you're starting to write, just remember what these fractions to decimals are, you can just do that. I'm just showing you how I got these numbers. 75% is 0.75. Now I need to find the greatest number. So my greatest number will be 0.9. So week 2 will be the greatest. So A and C are wrong. So now my next one will be week 1. B and D are still correct. So then I have between 3 and 4. So week 3 is going to be greater than week 4. So the answer will be B. All right, and that is how you order decimals and percents. Thanks, guys.